Welcome back to ABC General Hospital Spoilers channel. Today we will dive into the swirling drama of important pleas, stern cautions, risky decisions, and the heavy fallout that follows. In the bustling world of Port Charles, tensions are skyrocketing as characters navigate a web of secrets and betrayals. Trina Robinson finds herself at a crossroads, mustering the courage to make a pivotal request that could alter the course of her family's fate. Fresh off a revealing encounter in the previous episode, Kai Taylor has had his eyes open to the darker side of Drew Kane's character. Kai confessed to Trina about eavesdropping on Drew's menacing threats directed at her father, Curtis Ashford, including plans to have Stella Henry thrown behind bars for her involvement in past indiscretions. Eager to step up as a hero, Kai offers his skills to extricate Aunt Stella from her precarious position, perhaps by leveraging his tech savvy to hack into confidential files, or rally unexpected allies in the legal system. But Trina, with a mix of determination and worry etched on her face, redirects his focus entirely. She insists that the real victim in need of rescue isn't Stella, it's her own mother, Portia Robinson. In a heart-wrenching revelation, Portia had confided in Trina about the months-long nightmare of blackmail orchestrated by Drew, all stemming from her desperate act of tampering with Heather Weber's medical records to protect those she loves. This alteration was meant to keep Heather locked away, but now it's become a noose around Portia's neck. With Kai now seeing Drew for the manipulative force he truly is, a man who hides his ruthlessness behind a polished facade. Kai ponders innovative ways to turn the tables. Could he infiltrate Drew's secure database to fabricate counter-evidence that discredits the blackmail material? Or maybe stage a clever diversion to physically eliminate the incriminating documents, like a simulated office fire or a digital wipeout disguised as a system glitch? As these ideas swirl, Trina's request to Kai becomes a beacon of hope, urging him to channel his newfound resolve into a plan that safeguards Portia and exposes Drew's empire of deceit. Adding layers to this intrigue, we can imagine the emotional toll on Trina, who has always been the pillar of strength in her family, now grappling with the fear of losing her mother to scandal or worse. This subplot not only heightens the stakes, but also explores themes of loyalty and redemption, as Kai transitions from unwitting accomplice to potential savior. Shifting gears to another corner of the town, Carly Spencer is dishing out a grave warning that echoes through the corridors of relationships gone awry. In a candid chat with Elizabeth Weber, Carly unloads her frustrations about Willow Tate's shocking decision to reconcile with Drew. Willow, ever the optimist in a storm of chaos, had just spilled the beans to Elizabeth about patching things up with her ex, believing it might pave the way for stability. Carly, with her no-nonsense attitude sharpened by years of navigating Port Charles' underbelly, cuts straight to the chase. If Willow chooses to swallow Drew's silver-tongued promises hook, line, and sinker, then she's on her own to deal with the inevitable wreckage. This isn't Carly's first rodeo. She's witnessed Drew's mask slip time and again, especially since Jason Morgan's dramatic return stirred up old rivalries and unearthed buried truths. Elizabeth, who had been a steadfast friend to Willow during the fallout from that ill-fated wedding and the messy breakup, couldn't hide her disbelief. She even voiced concerns that Willow might be teetering on the edge of reason. To flesh this out further, picture Carly drawing from her own history of tangled romances, perhaps referencing how Drew's jealousy toward Jason isn't the full story. There's a deeper shift in his personality, fueled by power grabs and hidden agendas that have alienated even his closest allies. Carly's warning extends beyond this single conversation, as she might corner other characters throughout the episode, like a vigilant guardian spreading the word about Drew's toxic influence, inventing a new twist. Maybe Carly uncovers a forgotten letter or overheard phone call that hints at Drew's involvement in larger schemes, such as corporate espionage at Aurora Media. Adding urgency to her alerts, her frustration boils over, painting Drew as a chameleon who adapts to manipulate those around him. And this scene masterfully captures the ripple effects of betrayal in a tight-knit community like Port Charles. Meanwhile, Kristina Corinthos Davis is caught in a whirlwind of introspection during a deep, soul-searching talk with her brother, Michael Corinthos. The air is thick with unspoken regrets as Michael delivers a pointed observation. She's made a lot of bad choices, know she's going to have to live with the consequences. On the surface, this seems aimed at Willow's tumultuous path, but Kristina's startled expression suggests she's internalizing it, applying it to her own string of impulsive moves. Lately, Kristina has been entangled in a high-stakes predicament alongside Ava Jerome and Alexis Davis, where they've taken the drastic step of holding Rick Lansing captive. In Alexis' dimly lit basement, a desperate bid to extract information or settle old scores. This clandestine operation, born from a mix of vengeance and protection, now weighs heavily on Kristina's conscience. Is she second-guessing the morality of their actions, envisioning the legal hammer that could come crashing down? To expand on this, we can envision Kristina reflecting on her personal growth, from her rebellious youth to her current role as a fiercely protective sister and daughter, now facing the harsh reality that one wrong turn could unravel everything. Perhaps she contemplates reaching out to an old confidant like Sam McCall for advice, or even staging a fake escape for Rick to minimize damage, all while weighing the bad choices against even grimmer outcomes like family division or imprisonment. This narrative thread delves into the psychological depths of consequence, showing how Kristina's journey mirrors the broader chaos in Port Charles, where alliances shift like sand. Over at the hospital, Willow Tate shares a moment of tentative joy with Harrison Chase, her face lighting up with a genuine smile as she outlines her strategy to reunite with her children. Deep down, Willow clings to the hope that reigniting her bond with Drew will smooth the path to regaining custody, trusting in his influence to sway the odds in her favor. Yet, this choice reeks of peril, as Willow has been increasingly isolated, her judgment clouded by emotional turmoil that no one, not even her closest friends, has fully penetrated. Or perhaps, in a bold reinvention, Willow is secretly plotting to seize control independently, embodying the resilient spirit that defines her. After all, where there's a Willow, there's a way she might be consulting hidden legal experts or gathering her own evidence to challenge the custody rulings. To add new dimensions, imagine Willow drawing inspiration from past hospital heroes like Robin Scorpio, fueling her determination with stories of overcoming adversity, which enriches her character's arc and underscores the theme of maternal tenacity amid adversity. The drama escalates dramatically when young Rocco and Danny Morgan stumble upon a horrifying discovery: the lifeless body of Judge Eva Heron, floating face down in the murky waters near the piers. Shaken to their core, the boys waste no time in contacting Sonny Corinthos for guidance, with Rocco breathlessly announcing, "We found a body." It's evident this wasn't an accident. Samine orchestrated her demise to muzzle her forever. Fingers point to figures like Jen Sidwell, who erupted in rage upon learning from Marco Rios that the judge had been bribed to tip the custody scales toward Michael. But the real mystery lies in the potential setup: who's pulling the strings to frame an innocent party, and who will end up as the unfortunate fall guy. Expanding this plot, we can introduce speculative elements like a shadowy informant leaking clues to Sonny, or even a connection to Drew's web of threats, suggesting a larger conspiracy that ties back to the blackmail scandals. This chilling development not only amps up the suspense, but also highlights the vulnerability of justice in Port Charles, where power players stop at nothing to protect their secrets. Next, we will uncover the precarious destiny of fan-favorite Stella Henry, entangled in a riveting fraud controversy that threatens to lock her away for good. In the heart of Port Charles' ever-unfolding chaos, Stella Henry's world is crumbling under the weight of a devastating medical insurance fraud accusation, all sparked by her compassionate yet misguided effort to aid Marty Gray. What began as a simple act of goodwill ensuring Marty received vital treatments, despite his expired coverages, spiraled into a full-blown legal nightmare, painting Stella as a rule-breaker who crossed ethical lines. Drew Quartermain, ever the opportunistic schemer, anonymously alerted the authorities with damning evidence, triggering her swift and humiliating arrest right in the midst of her daily routine. Now, as detectives dig deeper into the paperwork and witness statements, Stella stares down the barrel of severe repercussions. Not only could she lose her long-standing position as a social worker at General Hospital, but the specter of prison time looms large, potentially upending her life for years. To add fresh layers to this turmoil, imagine Stella reflecting on her past deeds during a tense jailhouse visit, whispering regrets to a trusted confidant about how her desire to help Marty stemmed from memories of her own family's health struggles, perhaps even tying back to an old storyline where she battled personal losses. Alexis Davis, the sharp-minded attorney with a knack for unraveling knots, is rumored to be scouring legal precedents for any loophole, like challenging the validity of the insurance claims, or arguing that Stella's actions were coerced under duress. Yet, if these efforts fall flat and her guilt is cemented in court, This could mark a heartbreaking farewell to Vernee Watson's beloved portrayal, leaving fans in mourning over the loss of such a vibrant presence. Expanding on the emotional ripple, we can envision the Ashford family gathering in hushed discussions, with Curtis Ashford vowing to testify on her behalf, drawing from his own history of resilience after paralysis, while Jordan Ashford uses her police connections to probe for investigative flaws, delving into the core of Stella's fraud fallout. The charges paint a vivid picture of benevolence gone awry, where she allegedly manipulated records to fraudulently extend Marty's coverage, allowing him access to procedures he otherwise couldn't afford. This breach, while rooted in empathy for Marty's dire condition, perhaps a rare illness that echoed Stella's own, brushes with Mortilativulate's strict healthcare regulations, branding her as complicit in deceit. The arrest scene played out like a soap opera climax, officers arriving unannounced, slapping on cuffs amid gasps from onlookers, and escorting her away as Curtis and Jordan Ashford stood by in stunned disbelief, their faces a mask of horror and helplessness. Whispers among the cast suggest that post-arrest, Stella suffered a mild stroke from the overwhelming stress, a plot twist that heightens the drama by blending her legal woes with health scares, forcing her loved ones to rally at her bedside in the hospital wing. If Alexis can't unearth a saving grace, such as evidence of entrapment by Drew's manipulative tip or a procedural misstep in the arrest warrant, Stella might be forced to confront the harsh reality of conviction. Prison would strip away her role as the family's wise matriarch, depriving Port Charles of her no-nonsense guidance on everything from relationships to ethical dilemmas, and igniting widespread fan outcry over what feels like an unjust end. To invent a new element, picture Stella penning a secret letter from her cell, confessing hidden motivations tied to Marty's undisclosed connection to her late brother, adding a personal vendetta angle that deepens the scandal's intrigue and explores themes of forgiveness versus accountability. Turning our gaze to Vernee Watson's future on the show, her embodiment of Stella since 2017 has infused General Hospital with a unique blend of humor, heart, and unyielding wisdom, making her an indispensable thread in the tapestry of Port Charles' life. From mediating family feuds to offering sage counsel during crises, Watson's performance has earned her a devoted following. But this escalating fraud narrative with mounting evidence and a possible trial on the horizon fuels rampant speculation about her character's permanent exit. Could this be a deliberate storyline pivot to phase out Watson, perhaps incorporating scripted health declines that mirror rumored real-world factors, like the demands of long-term filming on veteran actors? Alternatively, it might serve as a clever misdirection, leading to a triumphant acquittal through a last-minute witness revelation or a plea bargain that keeps Stella in the fold with community service instead of bars. Fans are vocal in their dread, flooding social media with petitions and tributes, fearing the void left by her absence in a show known for rotating its elder statesmen. To refresh dynamics, inventing an extra dimension, we can imagine Watson's Stella sharing a poignant flashback scene with flashbacks to her early days in town, highlighting her growth from a newcomer to a cornerstone, which not only tugs at heartstrings, but also sets up potential for guest appearances. If she does depart, perhaps returning for holiday specials or family milestones. Looking ahead to what's in store for Stella, a prison sentence would shatter the moral foundation of Port Charles, leaving a gaping hole in the Ashford clan as Curtis grapples with yet another blow, following his crumbling marriage to Portia Robinson, potentially pushing him toward reckless decisions like confronting Drew head-on in a heated showdown. Trina Robinson, already navigating her own youthful turmoils, might feel the strain as her parental figures further fracture, seeking solace in unlikely friendships that bridge generational gaps. Alexis's quest for a technicality could unearth dirt on Drew's vengeful motives, perhaps linking his tip-off to broader schemes involving corporate rivalries at ELQ, thereby flipping the script and positioning Stella as a victim of sabotage rather than a perpetrator. But should the gavel fall unfavorably, leading to time served, it could signal the close of Watson's era. Though not without the door cracked for dramatic comebacks, envision her character emerging reformed, perhaps as a prison reform advocate upon release, weaving back into storylines with renewed purpose. Next, we will explore the shadowy schemes surrounding Ava Jerum's acquisition of sleeping pills, and the chilling possibilities it unleashes. In the shadowy underbelly of Port Charles, Ava Jerome has cunningly obtained a prescription for potent sleeping pills from the unsuspecting Lucas Jones, masking her true motives behind a facade of emotional distress. She spun a tale of relentless insomnia triggered by her messy breakup with Rick Lansing. But the coincidence is too glaring to ignore. This move comes hot on the heels of her brutal assault on Rick, smashing him over the head in Alexis Davis's home, while Kristina Corinthos Davis looked on in horror. With Rick now bound and hidden away in the depths of Alexis's basement, a makeshift prison born from desperation, Ava's mind races with sinister calculations. What if these seemingly innocent pills become a weapon in her arsenal, slipped into Rick's system to orchestrate a fatal overdose, all while positioning Kristina as the prime suspect in a cold-blooded murder? This twisted strategy could not only silence Rick forever, but also dismantle the fragile alliance, holding the secret together, potentially dragging Kristina and Alexis into a vortex of legal doom. To layer in fresh intrigue, envision Ava stashing the pills in a hidden compartment of her designer purse, her eyes glinting with calculated malice as she recalls past victories over adversaries, perhaps drawing inspiration from an old Jerome family ledger of ruthless tactics that once helped her evade justice in a similar bind. The stakes skyrocket as fans speculate on whether this plot will unravel the Davis family's bonds, or cement Ava's reputation as the ultimate survivor in a town rife with betrayals. Ava's seemingly casual request for the sleeping aids, framed as a remedy for her post-relationship turmoil, sets off alarm bells given her immersion in the cover-up of Rick's violent takedown. Lucas, ever the compassionate doctor, obliged without a second thought. But viewers are buzzing with theories that Ava has no intention of using them for restful nights. Instead, she might crush them into Rick's meager rations of food or water during one of her secretive basement visits, engineering a deadly overdose while Kristina stands guard, oblivious to the setup. This frame-up would paint Kristina as the panicked perpetrator, driven by her simmering resentment over Rick's earlier blackmail involving tampered brakes that nearly cost lives. Ava's track record of slippery escapes from accountability from art world deceptions to courtroom manipulations lends credibility to this dark hypothesis. She could stage the scene meticulously, stumbling upon Rick's lifeless form and tearfully accusing Kristina of snapping under pressure. Yet, this gambit walks a razor's edge if Rick clings to life through sheer willpower or medical intervention. His groggy recollections could expose Ava's hand, turning her poison plot into her own undoing. Inventing a new wrinkle, picture Ava practicing her alibi in front of a mirror, rehearsing fabricated sobs while clutching a vial of the pills, her thoughts flashing back to a forgotten encounter with a shady pharmacist who once supplied her with untraceable substances, adding a layer of premeditated menace that heightens the episode's tension and underscores her evolution from gallery owner to master manipulator. Kristina's exposed position makes her an ideal scapegoat in Ava's eyes, burdened as she is by the raw grief of losing her daughter and sister amid escalating family rifts that have left her emotionally raw and impulsive, already complicit in the risky decision to conceal Rick's captivity pact. Forged in the heat of the moment, Kristina's presence at the scene provides Ava with the perfect narrative thread to weave a murder accusation, perhaps by planting subtle evidence like a discarded pill bottle bearing Kristina's fingerprints. If Ava's poisoning succeeds, Kristina could find herself slapped with murder charges, her defense crumbling under Ava's rehearsed testimony, claiming she witnessed the desperate act firsthand. Alexis, drawn into this web as the reluctant host of the basement hideout, risks being labeled an accessory after the fact, her legal expertise ironically failing to shield her from the fallout, as evidence ties the crime directly to her property. This could shatter the Davis lineage, sending both mother and daughter behind bars and leaving Ava to bask in temporary freedom, her path cleared of immediate threats. However, Kristina's deep connections to power players like Sonny Corinthos might ignite a counter-investigate. With Sonny's network of informants sniffing out inconsistencies in Ava's story, potentially flipping the script and exposing her as the true architect of the horror. To enrich this dynamic, introduce a speculative element where Kristina experiences a fleeting vision of her late sister during a basement vigil, fueling her resolve to confess partially and seek Sonny's protection, which not only amplifies her vulnerability, but also ties into broader themes of familial loyalty, tested by deception. Underestimating the depths of Ava's ferocity would be a grave error, as her history brims with audacious schemes that have repeatedly allowed her to claw her way out of tight spots. From faking deaths to forging alliances with unlikely partners, this latest ploy with the sleeping pills exemplifies her willingness to cross moral lines for self-preservation. But cracks could form if figures like Drew Quartermain, Or Molly Lansing Davis catch wind of Rick's mysterious vanishing? Molly, as Rick's devoted daughter, might dismiss any framed job on Kristina outright, her skepticism prompting her to mobilize resource, perhaps enlisting private investigators, or leaning on her ties to the Quartermain and Pareto unearth the truth and dismantle Ava's facade. Should Rick survive the overdose attempt, awakening in a hospital bed with fragmented memories, his damning account could seal Ava's fate, leading to her arrest and a trial that exposes every layer of her machinations. Will Ava's meticulously crafted plan of pills and deception culminate in triumph, allowing her to eliminate rivals and reclaim her footing? Or will the very toxins she wields boomerang, poisoning her own future in a spectacular collapse? As the drama unfolds, Port Charles braces for revelations that could redefine alliances and bury secrets deeper than ever.